Good morning, loves. It is another writing vlog, and I am beat. I am exhausted, burnt out for sure. I'm excited that my weekend or my week off is next week because I'm definitely needing it, but alas, we still have one more day to write. It is the first day of this week to write. I edited the last 2 days, which was a nice breather, but we are working on The Lost Kids today, and my goal is to get through Mallory's weekend away, which should be hopefully 4 chapters. That's the goal, is basically with each kid. I have one chapter at the clinic, one chapter like going home, and then like two chapters over their weekend. So that is the goal of what I'm going to do. And yeah, it's a tiring morning, and there's not much else to say beyond that. I think I already have an idea of where I want to start with. It's probably going to start with a dream. Some of them I'm going to do dreams, some like as in like for their morning, and then some of them are going to be a little bit more in the middle of their morning before going home. So with Mallory, she's got the dream. We'll probably do that so we're not copying a whole lot of the same scene, because she would be repeating a scene that had Connor and Tanner and Maddie, so we don't want to copy too much. So that's where we're going to go, is leading into her morning. That way we haven't done a dream with her for a while, so I figured why not. So beyond that, let's go ahead and start our day. I am not writing just yet, but breakfast check-in, and I probably won't check in right before I'm writing. I'm just gonna do it now. We are having a little clementine, hoping it will give me a little bit of energy, and then some scrambled eggs. That angle was terrible. It's got a little bit of potatoes, spinach, onions, cheese, and country ham, and a little bit of garlic powder. I did not put any salt because there's going to be plenty with country ham. So yeah, that is what I'm having for breakfast, and the goal is, I do have a little bit of odds and ends to do this morning alongside writing. I need to still set up a video to edit tomorrow because I'm behind on that. It's because it's just been a burnt out type of week, and I've not been wanting to do much of anything, so I've been taking it slow and steady. And writing wise, like I said, we're gonna do Mallory, and we're gonna start with probably a dream sequence. I'm not entirely, oh no, I did. I thought about it last night. I couldn't remember that I thought about it last night. I know where I'm gonna go with it, and we're probably gonna start with the red barn dream, because we've, like, that's just a reoccurring thing for her, is dreaming of the red barn. And so we're gonna do that. And yeah, I can't think of anything else to say in this check-in. Like I said, is a burnt out kind of day, so this might be a short vlog. I'm not sure. So yeah, until next check-in. Well, it turns out I was wrong. I am doing a check-in before writing because couple updates. But I am mentally fried. I wasn't going to. I don't have coffee today, but it is one of those days to where I try not to say I need something besides God and the essentials, but I need this caffeine if I'm going to write today, at least. I don't need it to survive, but I need it to be productive today, because even though caffeine doesn't wake me up in the sense of like I have energy, it kind of calms me, but it does help with my mental state of where it kind of like, I don't know, it helps me be productive to where even if I'm mentally fried, it just gives me a boost, even if it's not an energetic boost. And so I need the coffee if I'm going to be able to write today. And I really, like, I prayed about it, and I'm just like, should I just call it quits today? But it just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the Lord's saying no, as in, I don't know. It doesn't feel like he's telling me that I need to call it quits today, but it also doesn't necessarily feel like he's saying that it's terrible if I do call it quits. So since it's kind of middle ground, I know that I need to get her chapters done today to stay on par, because every week that I work on the Lost Kids, so roughly about for the next 6 weeks, I need to work on one perspective to be able to stay on track. So technically 7 if we're counting this week, because I have 7 more point of views to get through if I want to be able to be done with this section before I start back on it, because once I hit sabbatical, I won't be working on the Lost Kids until after my next sabbatical. So March, as I usually take my sabbaticals, I'm going to try to start taking them the same time every year instead of just counting 6 months after my breaks. I'm just going to do it that way, to where February and August, unless life happens to where I have to shift that, those are my sabbaticals. And since it's going to be such a long pause, I would like to get this section done, so that way I'm not having to still work on it come next time around, because this is the first time I'm taking a long break from the Lost Kids. I take long breaks from Distorted Reality quite often, and it's like, so I'm used to that, but I still like to get to the end of a certain section. Like last time I took a break from Distorted Reality, it was conveniently the end of the second book, and so I'm just trying to get this section done in the Lost Kids, because when I took my sabbatical last time, I did the Lost Kids before, because it was the book that I worked the end of the year last year, and then I started working on it right back after February sabbatical. So it wasn't that long of a pause, but this one will be like a 6-month pause, so I'd rather go ahead and get this section done the best of my ability. So that means I gotta try to get 4 chapters done today and for the next 6 weeks that I'm working on it, so I can stay on track. So hopefully that will be the deal. But that being the witch, I definitely needed the caffeine, which I took a few sips and was already like, I feel a lot better, like less like bad, less like I'm hungover or that I'm sick or just whatever. Some days I just, my insomnia has been acting up like crazy. But yes, I am having some Dr. Pepper in exchange for coffee today, and just a small sweet treat to just kind of get me, hopefully, to be able to work through Mallory's chapters, because they're not going to be hard. I doubt they'll be hard. They haven't really been hard. It's just the motivation of getting it done while I'm already, like, burnt out. It's not the edge of burnt out. It is I am burnt out. But last week, and then I get to be off. Geez, today is definitely still a slow start. I got about 4 pages, so it's not horrible, but it's also 4 o'clock, so I don't know how much more I'm gonna get. I'm aiming to at least get another chapter, and I might just have to pick up a day, the Sunday after my week off, and use that because it's a half work day, and just try to get 2 more chapters done. So hopefully I can still stay on track. I did get it done. Most of the chapter was a dream sequence. I wasn't meaning for it to be that long, but it did turn out well, and I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it also was another bit of describing more of how the character's feeling about what they see than actually what they see, because of the fact of there's a monster in the dream sequence. And even though I have an idea of what it is, I don't want to put too much into it as far as in description wise, and like I could, and I kind of like know better, even though I like know better even if I want to, that I don't need to, because it being a demonic creature, I don't need to put that much effort into it. But I do have a vague idea of it, so I can help correlate, is that the proper term? To be able to understand what's going on, and I'm trying to give enough context clues to where if there is a detail about the creature that you need to know so you understand the scene, then you do. Like, for example, it mimics people's screams. That was something that was needed, but I didn't want to describe how the screams are coming out or different things like that, even though like I have an idea of what's going on with the creature. Like I said before, I don't like to put too much into the darkness, so if it is unneeded, I do not put it in there. But yeah, it definitely was mostly dream sequence and just more or less explaining why Mallory's not in the best of moods, because of the other scene shows that she's not in the best of moods. Not that she's in a sour mood, but she's just like done with it today already, and trying to like express why that would be the case, and just little things in there that I thought would be fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat something and then try to get at least another chapter. I want to say chapter 2, but it's probably just gonna be another chapter because I am definitely it's exhausting right now, and so I might have to just pick up my Sunday to fix this and finish this to keep on track. Like, I'd had to do that with Tanner's, I want to say last time or the time before. I think it was last time's when I worked on Tanner's. I had to do his Tuesday and Wednesday, just basically doing 2 days, because just like this month was a long month and I kind of had a feeling that it would get that way. So let's go ahead and finish out this day and see what we can get to. And the writing is done. I did only get 2 chapters done. They were pretty decent, 8 pages in total, and it definitely is. Mallory is more of a wallflower in this, which she usually is more of a wallflower than most because she is selectively mute. I don't know if that's the proper usage of it, but it's like she's not mute because she can't physically speak, but she's mute because she can't, like, she has like a mental blockage that is keeping her from speaking, and so she doesn't really interact as much as she would if she was speaking. So with her, you get a lot more observation, so you get a lot more of the dynamic of, for this one, it is the dynamic of Jackson's family, so her cousins, because she's cousins with Jackson, so she's cousins with Andrew and Claire because their mom is her aunt. And so we got more of that, which was fun and sweet. And I thought, like, I enjoy writing their dynamic because out of all of the kids, theirs is a little bit more wholesome for the most part, as far as in with them, to where, like, I love with Andrew and Claire are very much sibling dynamics, but as in they are very much teasing and harassing each other's siblings, but not in like a super violent manner, just more so in like a what you would expect out of siblings, compared to they're not really super mean to each other, but they are like more mean to each other than they are to other people, or allow people to be mean to them type deal. And so it's fun, and just showing that and showing Jackson open up a little bit more because of having him at home. He feels a little bit more safe, and a little bit more able to open up, at least in certain situations of it, and so that was fun. And I do still have 2 more chapters that I need to get into, which will probably be more so with her mom. I kind of split it down the middle, but it wasn't as hard. I did have a second cup of Dr. Pepper to get a little bit more caffeine because I definitely was still needing it for a little bit of a boost. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I will definitely be taking that Sunday in a couple weeks to try to finish it up and finish the next 2 chapters. I wanted to get a little bit into with her mom because her mom and hers dynamic and bond is like really special to her and like really important. And I just want to show that, like, more or less when there's like a lot of good relationships, parental relationships or sibling relation, like I want to highlight the important relationships in the kids' lives, especially when there is a contrast of so much of what's going on that's traumatic. I want to contrast it with the parts that aren't as traumatic to show that not everything is doom and gloom. Like, there are probably some kids that is probably borderline the situation, but not with all of them, and trying to show the differences of family dynamics, differences of relational dynamics, just the differences of different home lives and clinical lives, and just like showing a whole variety to where it doesn't feel like each character is copy paste. Like, I don't think each character feels copy and paste just with their personality in general. There is a lot of similarities for specific reasons because of just there is gonna be similarities in people, and just like showing that, and just like a lot of similarities are there for a reason, but also showing that even though I don't think that every character feels like you're reading the same one over and over again, I hope that's not the case, but maybe I'm not looking at it clearly, but showing that even though not every character is the same, but showing that they're each family and each background for that character is not the same either, and just like showing sometimes that explains why they're not so similar to other characters or why that makes them them, and also showing just in general how there might be similarities in characters but they have 2 separate kinds of home lives, and it's just more so showing the difference between a core personality of this person would probably be like this no matter what, maybe more extreme or less extreme depending on the environment they're going up with, but it just is a core personality to them, compared to environmentally induced personalities, like as far as in there are bits of their personality that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the environment they're in. But just like doing I like developing characters and just like thinking about just that's fun. Like, that's fun for me. It's kind of like a puzzle, like making and creating and thinking about a puzzle of just like what would make this person this way, what would make them tick, and just like expanding about that, even with side characters, because even with Claire and Andrew, I think it's fun to kind of show little hints of things that show that they're more than themselves, I guess more than just side characters, of showing that even though they are Mallory's cousins and Jackson's brother and sister, that they're more than just there. Like, the more I dig into Andrew, the more I just adore him, because it's just like, he just loves his family so much. And just seeing that, and then even Claire, she loves her family so much, but showing the difference between how like eccentric she is a lot of times, and which is kind of odd, I guess, because she is very eccentric, but she's also very much like she has to be in the right environment to be eccentric. She's more so, I guess, I was gonna say more so like Connor, but that's not necessarily the case. I guess it's more so she's very shy, but she's also very eccentric. So if you get to know her, or she's in an environment where she feels comfortable, she's gonna be off the walls dramatic, and just like showing the differences of how she might be similar to the rest of her family and how she might be different, and just like showing the same thing with each one of them, of just even being in the same family, of how different they can be and how similar they can be. But yeah, that is it for this. And this ending part was probably a lot longer than the first check-ins, because I don't feel as exhausted, but I am glad to be done because I am tired and ready to just chill out with my day. So I pray blessings upon you all. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whenever it is for you. It is evening for me, so good evening to you. Good bye.